stop everything. The king of country almost faded into the Texas sunset before the wildest twist of his life roared back to center stage. George Strait, crowned by millions as country royalty, seemed unbeatable, yet his story hides turned sharper than a rodeo bull. Born May 18, 1952 in pint-sized Poteet, Texas, Little George spent childhood weekends wrestling barbed wire and dust on the family's 200 acres. The ranch sat outside Big Wells, and every blister on his hands carved in iron will that later thundered through his songs. But trouble slammed the Strait household when George hit 4th grade. His parents split, his mother and sister moved away, and young George stayed behind with Dad and big brother Buddy. The trio's new routine was brutal. School on weekdays, branding calves on Saturdays, and praying the old pickup survived each long drive. Music sneaked in like a secret, setting his heart on fire. At Pearsall High, he bolted together a garage rock band called the Stoics, blasting Beatles riffs so loud the tractor shed rattled. Yet British pop could not drown out Texas dance halls where Hank Thompson and Lefty Frizzell yodeled under neon lights. George watched, learned, and stitched those sounds into a style no one had heard before. Country radio played second fiddle to the farm report at the Strait House, so live shows became his classroom. Every traveling band that rolled through a dusty town square added fresh tricks to his growing toolbox. College in San Marcos cranked the volume even higher. One afternoon, a flyer begged for a lead singer for the Stony Ridge. George grabbed a guitar, walked in, and the room exploded. Soon he renamed the outfit Ace in the Hole, grabbed a microphone for good, and dragged them through smoky bars from Huntsville to Houston. Crowds stomped floors, but record stores stayed silent. D Records in Houston finally pressed a few Strait tunes, including That Don't Change the Way I Feel About You. Yet radio ignored them, so George hustled cattle by day and chased applause by night, hoping lightning would strike before Bills collapsed his dream. Enter Woolsey, bar manager turned guardian angel. Woolsey had worked at MCA Records and could smell raw talent a mile away. He lured Nashville scouts to Texas to witness the ace in the whole storm. The suits loved the show but claimed the Western swing flavor was impossible to sell. Rejection letters piled higher than hay bales. By 1980, George was ready to quit for good. One late night, he told the band he was hanging up his guitar forever. Heart sank, but at home his wife Norma locked eyes with him and whispered, "Try one last year." That dare change music history. February 1981, fate finally blinked. MCA offered Strait a single-song deal. One song, one chance. If it fizzled, the dream died. The band stuck to his side, and together they cut Unwound. The track ripped up the charts, clawing to number 6. Suddenly labels scrambled, and George's debut album, Strait Country, thundered out of the gate with 2 more hits, Down and Out and If You're Thinking You Want a Stranger. Critics gasped, calling the record a blast of pure tradition during a pop-soaked decade. Momentum snowballed. Straight from the Heart dropped in 1982, driven by the wailing heartbreaker, Fool-Hearted Memory. His first chart topper, Amarillo by Morning, a rodeo lament dripping in steel guitar, cracked the top 5 and became an anthem belted by every truck stop jukebox. The very next year, Destiny threw another curve. The headliner at the Houston Livestock Show collapsed with the flu, leaving 30,000 screaming fans and no star. Promoters gambled on Strait. He swaggered onto that giant stage, tipped his hat, and unleashed a set so fiery that Houston has begged him back every season since. But success never arrives without a storm. Reporters dug for dirt and branded him too quiet when they found none. That tag hit him harder than any critic because George valued honesty over flash. He refused glittery costumes, kept real fiddles on stage, and once walked out of session when a producer pushed for disco drums. That stubborn streak protected the twang we all love. Fame reached a painful fork when his daughter Jennifer died in a car crash. Grief gagged him. He stopped interviews, spoke only through music, and poured his sorrow into tracks like Baby Blue. Listeners could hear his heart break between every note. Even in mourning, George kept blazing trails. Labels built new traditional departments around his sound, and young guns like Alan Jackson and Garth Brooks sprinted through the door he kicked open. Two-step nights boomed across Texas. proving the King's reach stretched far beyond radio. Off stage, he stayed true to dirt roads. Between tours, he rode fence lines on the family ranch, laughing with hands who still called him George instead of Sir. Reporters arrived expecting velvet ropes and found him fixing gates instead. He always claimed, "I'm a rancher first, singer second," and meant it. When digital downloads rattled the industry, many legends panicked. George shrugged, uploaded, and watched teenagers stream, "Carrying Your Love With Me" by the million. Another era conquered. Now comes a revelation that has every label trembling. Bubba Strait, rodeo champ and songwriter, confirmed that he and his dad secretly built a new album blending George's raw barroom grit with fresh stories from the next generation. Insiders whisper about a family duet that could stampede up the charts before rivals even react. Promoters already map out stadium routes. One agent gasped, "If the Straits ride together, tickets will melt in seconds." Yet George stays quiet, tipping his hat and letting suspense do the talking. So picture this. Sunset over San Marcos, a studio door cracked open, and two Straits trading licks while a steel guitar moans. The King never abdicated. He just trained a co-pilot. Whatever happens next could rewrite country history all over again. And remember, George once promised he would leave the spotlight on his own terms. That vow keeps fans holding their breath. Because every move might be the last, or the beginning of something even bigger. The mystery only fuels the fire. Either way, the silence is about to explode, and the countdown has officially begun. Brace yourself, because the next stretch of George Strait's journey explodes like fireworks over a midnight sky. The King walked into Houston's famous rodeo arena more than 20 times, and when ticket sellers finished counting, they realized over 1 million cheering fans had poured through the gates to hear him roar. Between those thunderous nights and the close of the 80s, Strait stamped 17 songs at number 1. 5 smash hits in a row between 1983 and 1984 alone. Right or Wrong became his first chart-topping album, and the follow-up, Does Fort Worth Ever Cross Your Mind, snagged the coveted CMA prize for Album of the Year. Proving the crown was secure. Accolades kept piling up. The very next season, he lifted the CMA trophy for male vocalist, then surprised listeners with his first greatest hits collection, a tight bundle of classics drawn for his opening 3 records. In 1985, he returned swinging with Something Special, an album that clutched the top spot and gifted the world a chair, a slow dance melody that still melts dance halls every Saturday night. Triumph did not slow him down. In 1986, Strait repeated as CMA vocalist and celebrated a 4th straight number 1 album, officially vaulting from rising star to towering giant of country music. Yet through all the wild applause, he stayed unshaken. Steady voice, steady smile, steady home life. That rock-solid center rested beside his high school sweetheart Norma. A love story so durable fans whisper belongs in history books. Teen romance turned to forever on December 4th, 1971, when the pair slipped across the border and traded vows in a tiny Mexican chapel under a curtain of starlight. Only weeks later, George signed up for the United States Army, shipped to Hawaii with the 25th Infantry, and somehow still found a stage. Army life gave him a new name, Santee, and a microphone inside Rambling Country, the military band that let him sing both on post and off, sharpening the craft that would one day conquer stadiums. He wore that uniform until 1975, rising to the rank of corporal, then marched straight toward the neon promise of Nashville. Family joy followed him home. Daughter Jennifer arrived on October 6, 1972, filling the house with laughter, and son George Harvey Strait Jr. Bubba, to every neighbor, made his entrance in 1981. For years, the Straits looked like the perfect postcard, but fate carried a cruel twist. On one dark night in 1986, a speeding car flipped while trying to make a tight turn, and Jennifer, only 13, was gone in seconds. News wires flashed the tragedy across the nation, yet George locked his hurt deep inside, refusing interviews as he struggled to breathe through the grief. Friends say that pain still echoes in his gentle drawl each time he steps to the microphone. Still, the spotlight never pulled him away from the ranch gates or his guiding values. Paparazzi lights, loud gossip, endless award shows. He met them all with calm eyes and a quiet nod, forever placing Norma and their son above every glittering prize. The raw truth of his own battles poured into songs of love, loss, and grit that millions feel in their bones. That bond, more than any flashy trick, explains why crowds from Texas to Tokyo claim George's voice as a soundtrack to their lives. When work boots come off, the legend trades strings for spurs. Steer roping golf rounds and snow-dusted ski runs fire up the offstage adrenaline. Along with lifelong friend and business partner Tom Cusick, he launched the Vaqueros Del Mar Invitational, a yearly golf and concert blowout at their Tapatio Springs resort in the Texas Hill Country. The first event in 2012 raised more than $5 million for Troops First Foundation, a lifeline for wounded service members and their families. The state he loves took notice. In January 2018, a panel of business and civic leaders named George Strait the Texan of the Year, pinning a bright new star on an already crowded jacket. Hollywood even came knocking. In 1992, he headlined Pure Country, slipping into the boots of Dusty Chandler, a singer who longed to ditch arena smoke for honest barroom twang. The film's soundtrack doubled as another hit record, letting George mix gentle country glow with a spark of rock punch without ever losing his trademark heart. Numbers alone cannot capture the roar he unleashed, yet they are staggering. Across his career, he piled up more than 60 chart-topping singles, a haul no other country performer has ever matched. And he did without chasing fads or bending to record label fashions. Radio programmers simply could not quit spinning his easy, honest drawl, and listeners kept dialing phones to request that new Strait song until the phone board sizzled. Those same listeners packed coliseums from coast to coast, turning George's tours into moving cities of cowboy hats and denim dreams. Ticket sellers estimate that nearly every fourth American adult has seen him live at least once, a mind-bending stat that places him shoulder to shoulder with rock giants who ruled entire decades. At the now legendary final night of his 2-year Cowboy Rides Away tour in Arlington, Texas, over 104,000 fans packed a football stadium, shattering the North American concert attendance record and proving the legend was larger than ever. When the lights dim and the buses roll back toward dusty highway intersections, Strait slips behind the wheel of a ranch truck, checking fences and cattle just like the ranch kid he once was. Friends swear he still changes his own flat tires, chats with neighbors at the feed store, and never leave the driveway without a weathered Stetson and that shy half-grin. Fame may have crowned him, yet the land keeps him grounded, an anchor as steady as the stone markers that sit above tiny Poteet Cemetery. Even the business side of his empire carries the mark of homegrown loyalty. Many crew members have clocked 3 full decades on his payroll, and bus driver Ronnie wears logged enough miles behind the wheel that he could circle Earth more than 100 times. They stay because George insists on fair pay, honest talk, and a family atmosphere. You can feel the moment you climb the steps of tour bus number 1. By balancing glitter with grit, the quiet superstar carved a blueprint younger acts now study like gospel. They watch his every move, hoping to learn how to chase global fame without losing their small-town hearts. George simply tips his hat, flashes that easy grin, and sends them back on stage with 5 timeless words. Sing what you believe in. Hold on tight. The numbers you are about to hear feel larger than life. George Strait is the 12th best-selling artist in United States history, moving a mountain of 70 million domestic records while staying true to real country roots that never go out of style. His chart power is unmatched with 60 flashy number 1s since 2013, which means more first-place flags than any singer in any style ever dreamed possible. The streaks are even crazier. George placed a top 10 hit on radio every single year for 30 straight trips around the sun, a record no other name in any genre can claim. Right now, he sits second on the all-time top 10 list, only 5 songs shy of Eddie Arnold's 92, and loyal fans believe he could still close that gap whenever he feels like stepping up to the microphone again. Trophy cases bow under the load. The Country Music Association has called his name 22 times, including Entertainer of the Year in 1989, 1990, and 2013. Those headline victories locked Strait in rare company, yet the accolades keep rolling. The CMA also handed him the plaque for most honors ever collected, then made room for him inside the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2006, where he sang "Give It Away" before holding his shining badge high. Industry experts cannot stop praising him. The Academy of Country Music stamped George as Artist of the Decade for the 2000s in October 2008. Billboard followed on the 8th of June 2010 by naming him Top Country Artist of the past quarter century, a salute that felt like thunder rolling over open pasture. No one else has captured Entertainer of the Year across 3 different decades, which leaves the king alone on the tallest throne. All that glory brings healthy banknotes. Estimates put his fortune at $300 million. Yet no price tag can match the timeless bond he forged with fans by respecting fiddles, steel guitar, and heartfelt lyrics. While pop-flavored beats swept through many Nashville studios during the 80s, Strait doubled down on pure twang, and listeners around the globe rewarded that stand with more than 120 million total sales. His shelves sparkle with metal. 13 discs reached multi-platinum, including Pure Country, which hits 8 times platinum, and 33 more reached platinum on the nose. Those figures do not even count endless streams piling up on digital platforms every 3 seconds. Proof the legend still lives in earbuds from Dallas to Dublin. As the cowboy rides away to or near its final dust cloud, listeners everywhere asked one burning question: who steps up when George finally parks the tour bus? Ears lean toward his tall, soft-spoken son George Strait Jr., better known as Bubba, the quiet partner who had been sharing writer credits and stage moments for many years. The idea made perfect sense. Fans had already seen father and son trade verses in matching button-downs and wide hats, grinning at each other like teammates who know the playbook by heart. Bubba co-penned Living for the Night, Out of Sight, Out of Mind, and many other album cuts that kept the family sound honest and direct. Now the suspense is over because Bubba, at 43, has embraced the torch. Born on the 14th of May 1981 in San Marcos, Texas, he first chased adrenaline inside rodeo arenas rather than recording studios. While studying at Texas A&M University, he joined the rugged team roping world, secured membership in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and left boot prints at the 22nd George Strait Team Roping Classic in 2004. Rodeo life nearly took a finger when a rope loop snapped wrong. Yet that scare only underlined his grit. George Sr. shares the same fire. For 35 straight seasons, he produced the PRCA Team Roping Classic and celebrated with a huge grin in 2017, when the event wrapped its final banner amid cheers and dust. He once told Team Roping Journal that hoisting a victory buckle with his son outranked every stadium encore. Music kept whispering. Bubba's boyish voice opens Heartland in the 1992 film Pure Country, a small cameo that hinted at deeper stories ahead. As an adult, he poured rural wisdom into Here for a Good Time, Love is Everything, Cold Beer Conversation, and Honky Tonk Time Machine, becoming a crucial pen behind each of those projects. Together the songs paint open highways, family ties, and ice-cold comfort after long days in the saddle. June 7, 2014, wrote a golden sentence in Strait family lore. On the final night of the Cowboy Rides Away tour at the huge stadium in Arlington, Texas, more than 104,000 fans surrounded a glowing round stage, breaking the North American attendance record while cameras rolled for a television special. Father and son stepped into the spotlight, swapped guitars, and delivered Arkansas Dave, the tune Bubba wrote with campfire honesty, sending cheers so loud that the giant video board shook. After that historic show, George Sr. eased back from life on the road, but the family name kept shining on gala nights. Bubba slipped into tailored suits and walked carpets at the 2007 Country Music Hall of Fame medallion event, the 2009 ACM Artist of the Decade Tribute, and the 2012 ASCAP Country Awards, always honoring the heritage while gently hinting at fresh chapters ahead. Away from bright lights, he found steady happiness with realtor Tamara Strait. The pair met courtside at a San Antonio Spurs game in 2005, shared jokes over nachos, and never looked back. They married in 2010 and now raised 2 children, George Harvey Strait, the third born in 2012, and Jillian Louise Strait, born in 2016. Tamara often posts warm family snapshots online, a window into simple moments of fences, fishing poles, and bedtime stories under Texas stars. Even without a public social profile of his own, Bubba's achievements keep stacking like hay bales in July. He blends arena dust, poetry, and ranch humility into songs that honor the past yet point to tomorrow. Each co-write, Each quiet harmony beside his dad adds another layer to the legend and signals that pure country will remain in steady hands.